in a cat and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. Gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G Loomis rod. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck and give it a whirl. Hello and welcome to my world. What's going on, Facebook and YouTube Live? Welcome to another episode of On Another Line Live. We're going to be talking about some exciting things today, including a new G Loomis NRX Plus. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to want to stick around for this episode. We're going to talk about a new rod that's just released yesterday by G Loomis called the NRX Plus. We're going to talk about the differences between that rod and the Conquest and the old NRX. What the difference is, what to expect, price point, different things that they have going on. We're also going to be talking about a weekend adventure that I had, fishing a tournament with Lewis County Lunkers, where we pulled off the win. So anyway, first and foremost, this episode is brought to you by Shimano, which is one of my long-term affiliates of this show. I throw around the term pro staff very loosely because I'm not on their pro staff really. Pro staff really stands for promotional staff, not professional staff. But I am affiliated through their pro staff through the Tackle Box in South Point, Ohio. And I do have the ability to fish and use some of these rods way before anybody else can get their hands on them. What's up, Kev? How you doing, buddy? I appreciate it. Thank you very much. It was we're going to talk about it in just a minute, but it was a good time. So again, we are now it is May 11th, 2021. You guys are just now joining in. Obviously, weather around here has been kind of cool for the time of year. I feel like that we've had like a late spring. Obviously, it's still spring, like a late winter almost. I mean, it's 50s, 60s throughout the day here in Ohio. I'm getting some reprieve here soon with some warmer weather. This coming weekend, Kyle and I are going back up north to the Holy Land of Lake St. Clair again, searching for that 5.3 plus PB. I'm looking for a 6-pounder. That was my goal last year. This year, makes the second time I've been to Lake St. Clair already this year. I'm going back the 1st of June, and I'm sure I'll go back again. It's just one of my favorite places to fish on the planet, and I will be going to Lake Erie to do some walleye fishing, and I'll have my boat there too, so I may go out and try to smash a few while I'm out there. So let me get on here. I'm going to share this, guys. I'd appreciate if you guys would share it. Again, if you would share it on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, nothing you can do about it. I appreciate you guys. Let me mute myself here. But I appreciate, you guys subscribing. And if you do have Facebook, consider adding me on Facebook and sharing it on Facebook. But if you're watching on YouTube, I would much rather you watch there. Quality is a whole lot better, and we don't have to worry about all that Zuckerberg drama. So anyway, back to the task at hand. Yesterday, G Loomis released a brand new rod called the G Loomis NRX Plus. In my opinion, the G Loomis NRX is the best hands-down rod on the planet. It's my favorite. I like it hands down, head and shoulders, even over the Conquest. The Conquest is the flagship model for G Loomis, and right below that it used to be the NRX. And I like the NRX better than the Conquest, and it was just my opinion. And again, opinions are like buttholes. Everybody has them, and sometimes they stink. But my idea of this rod is that I would rather fish an NRX than a Conquest. I had a Conquest for about 3 months, liked it, but I didn't fish it enough to keep up with the cost of it. You're talking, $650, $675. If you're getting into that 7.5 range, it's $725. So I didn't pick it up enough to justify the cost. So I sold it and bought an NRX 894 C JWR, and that's what I still fish my jigs with today. So I like the NRX above the Conquest, and I always get the question, first and foremost, what's the difference between a Conquest and an NRX? And why is there a price difference of so much? So first off, the guides are different on the Conquest, the NRX, and now the NRX Plus as well. If you start with the Conquest, they have Fuji. I think they are let's see. I am drawing a blank. The NRX has Fuji silicon carbide SIC guides, and then it goes up to REC Components recoil guides, which are titanium, and then it goes up to the Fuji silicon carbide SIC silicon carbide tip top as well. The Conquest has Torzite. That's what I'm looking for. They have Torzite guides on them all the way up. They don't have the recoil guides. The difference between the Conquest and the NRX and NRX Plus is that the Conquest has High Power X. High Power X is a different wrapping pattern with the carbon tape that you get on those rods. And if you think about the carbon tape, where do we get that from? How do you, what is it? Well, if you fish Shimano rods, if you have a Zodius or you have an X Pride, or you have now Poison Adrena, which is, that's a Spiral X core rod. But they've taken that and ported it over into the Loomis family. So it gives you a more, it adds more strength to the rod, more backbone, allows the rod to stay in more of a line for the guides, less torsional rigidity, or more torsional rigidity, less torque of the guide. So when you grab a rod and you whip it into a cast, what happens is if a lot of times the rods they'll flex on an axis. So it'll be on like the Z axis. So they're flexing around themselves. So what that happens is that if you have to think of your line, the guides are going to go around that in a spiral. So the High Power X or the Spiral X wrap causes that to not happen. It allows those guys to stay in more alignment and allows you to make farther casts, allows less drag on your line, and also less friction, which is going to cause you not to break off so many fish. Just bought one of the Zodius spinning rods. Dude, I love them. The brand new ones with the carbon handle, like the Poison Adrenas, are phenomenal. Matter of fact, they're so good that I'm going to have a lot of regular Zodius rods for sale, and you guys are not going to want to pass up these deals because these rods are not hurt. Most of them are less than a year old, but I do want to upgrade to those. So congratulations on grabbing one of those, man. You're definitely going to like it. So now comes into play the NRX Plus, and it feels like a weight is lifted off my shoulder because I've known about these rods since October. I got the opportunity to go out and fish them for a little bit. Matter of fact, the rods that I got to fish with were totally black, and they had Prototype Labs stamped on the side of them. So I felt like I was in an elite group of people that got my hands on those things first. It was pretty amazing to get to feel them. The real seat is different. I can tell you that for sure. The real seat's different than the NRX and also the Conquest. The real seat has like indentions in them that fit your hand a lot better. I love the real seat. They're CI4 Plus, are carbon infused. They are amazing quality. I love the way it is. Of course, on NRX and Conquest, you're getting the highest quality cork that's out there, known to man. So it's going to last you for years and years and years. And it's also going to feel really nice in your hands when you're fishing. So a couple of things that the NRX Plus is coming out with here that I really, really like, that I'm sure you guys are going to want to get in on, is that it has a new blank, for one. It also has Spiral X, which is different from High Power X, but it's still the same deal. It's a carbon tape wrapped around the guide, or around the blank on the outside, and then it gives more strength. So if you think about a rod being a straw, right? So it's hollow in the center. That's the way all rods are built. They start really big towards the butt or the handle of the reel, and they go really small towards the tip. So they're kind of like triangular in shape, and they get rolled up into a cylinder. So what happens is normal rods or normal construction without Spiral X or High Power X, if you take a straw and you bend it, eventually it's going to get to the point where that cylindrical size of it breaks down, and it actually causes the walls of the straw or the cylinder to crush, and it will actually cause the rod to snap, or the straw to break over. And that's exactly what happens when a rod breaks. So that actually the walls of the rod actually break off, or they actually compress on each other, and that's what causes the rod to fail and to break. Well, a lot of that can happen from different reasons. Well, first off, you step on them when you're on the deck of your boat. I knew that I did, but it was kind of like one of those things that I didn't look at very much. But now that I film everything that I do on the water, every time I'm out on the water, if I catch a fish, there's a pretty good chance I'm stepping on a rod. And it's not good for them. Even in Shimano or G-Loomis rods, it's not good to step on them like that, because it's going to cause the walls to get a lot more flimsy, and they're eventually going to break. So my advice is that if you're not using the rods, put them back in your rod locker so you don't have to worry about stepping on them. But that High Power X gives it a more stronger wall. So actually, when you bend that thing, it actually is going to take a lot more pressure before it actually will break. That's brand new on the NRX Plus, which is the Spiral X. Spiral X has the or the NRX Plus has Spiral X, which was originally only in Shimano rods. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know this, but Shimano owns G Loomis. They have for like 25 years or something, 22 years or something. So it's nothing new that they've owned them. So Shimano and G Loomis obviously are the same company, but Shimano, the Spiral X was only in the Shimano lineup of rods. It started in the Zodius, and then they put it up into the X Pride, and then they brought out the Poison Adrena, which is Spiral X Core, which is wrapped on the inside, not on the outside. And the Poison Adrena at this point right now, when this is being filmed on in 2021, obviously, is the flagship model of the Shimano Bass side. Fast forward or rewind to last year, 2 years ago, they took that Spiral X construction, put it over into a Loomis blank, and called it the Conquest. Flagship model still to this day for G Loomis. Again, the most expensive rod that they offer in the Conquest is like $725, which is a crazy amount of money for a rod. It's really crazy how much it really is. But and then now they're taking that Spiral X and they're adding it to a new rod called the NRX Plus. Another thing that you're getting with the new NRX Plus is that the blank design is different. It is a multi-taper design, which means that it's not the same taper from butt to tip. It actually steps down almost like stair steps at a microscopic level, obviously, to give you better feel. In my opinion, holding the NRX and the NRX Plus and fishing them both together, I fished them hand in hand in October. I had the same rod in an NRX and the same action in an NRX Plus, and I fished them side by side using the same baits, trying to figure out the difference. In my opinion, the NRX Plus is a little more snappy. And the tip recoils a lot quicker. It is absolutely going to make you a better casting angler, no doubt, no doubt. I felt myself casting places that I would have never casted because I get that more feeling. I have that much more feeling with the rod in that NRX Plus. My biggest thing is that a lot of people always ask me, and why I fish NRX, why I fish Loomis. And the thing about that is that, I've explained it to you a lot. Loomis, I like Loomis side because of the warranty, as well as them being manufactured one at a time, handmade in Washington State. And most of all, Shimano stuff is designed in Japan, made in China. Don't get me wrong, I own them both. But if I was given the opportunity to fish only one for the rest of my life, I would pick a G Loomis NRX due to the warranty, and there's that good. I always get the question is, why do they put recoil guides on an NRX? What's the difference? Well, REC Components makes a titanium guide that's made of a spiral of titanium, and they are called recoil guides because if you bend them down and you release them, they will recoil back into place. They're titanium. They're almost like spring steel, but they're titanium. So when you hit them, they bounce right back into place. They're a really high dollar version of the little bathroom thing that keeps your door from hitting the wall. So they spring back into place. They're also there to allow for a lighter tip, allow more sensitivity and better casting. Hey, Greg. Thanks for joining in, buddy. I appreciate it. I appreciate you giving me a little feedback there. I appreciate you joining in. But the NRX Plus are a little bit more expensive because you're getting that NRX Plus. I want to find this video here for you, and I want to share it with you guys. And it still blows my mind that this happens. I can find this video. I'm pretty sure if I can find it here. Oh yeah, here. So I'm going to share this really quickly. And I'm going to preface this by saying, let me stop this here. You're not seeing it. So I'm going to preface this by saying that this is a G Loomis factory brake test. And what they're doing is they're taking a Loomis, and I think it's an NRX, and they're bending the rod the opposite direction of the spline. So normally when you're building a rod, I know nothing about building a rod, but I know that you're finding the spline, and when you can like hold the tip and bend it, and it'll actually will wrap it, like will right itself to where the spline of the rod is going, across the back. Think of it like the backbone. That's the spine or the spline of the rod. So what happens is they're taking this thing and they're hooking something up to the, I assume it's a line to the eye, the tip top, and they're bending it backwards. It's almost like you doing a back bend. And I want you to take a look at how far this thing bends back before it actually snaps. So let me share this screen here. Let's make this a little bigger. So I want you to take a look at this. Actually, let's remove this. I want to make sure that I'm sharing the video or the audio as well. There we go. All right, so what you're seeing here again is the let me get rid of this banner. So all right, so what you're seeing here is a Shimano rod that's here. Again, this is the real seat. It's up, it's bent all the way around. It's attached here. So let's take a look at this video.
This one's not gonna have as much bend to it because it's a 5-power, but it still should go pretty strong. That's an NRX. Already 10 pounds there. Not slippage. That was a baby one. Wow, it's amazing, yeah. Yeah.
So there it was. Like that right there in and of itself blows my mind. Hey, Larry Slack, what's up, buddy? Thanks for joining in. So that blows my mind right there, let alone. If you guys have not seen that and you want to watch it on your own again, just search for Shimano or G Loomis brake test on YouTube, and it's on there. It's pretty crazy. That thing's bent all the way back against the spline of the rod, and you see it like jump, and that's where there's a knot slippage. And then that, like, it still blows my mind. So is it worth the money? Let's think about some of the things. So Greg Drown at the Tackle Box and I were talking about this the other day, and it is the exact truth, and he was 100% right when he said this. And we're talking about, I remember my very first Shimano rod and reel that I ever bought. I remember the day that I bought it. I remember what was going on. My dad took me to the Tackle Box years and years and years ago when it was actually down in Ironton, and I bought a Shimano FX, and I couldn't tell you the rod, but it was a Shimano FX, probably an FX combo. The thing was like probably $35. If that, probably more like 20, probably $19.99. And I fished it and I really liked it. And I'm sure as a kid, I destroyed that thing and I lost it and it was gone. I couldn't tell you where it's at. It's nothing but a memory now. But one of the things that I always look at, and Greg hit it on the nail head, is that we always constantly, we buy cheap stuff when we get into things. Well, fishing is something that I got into as a kid, right? So if you're getting into a hobby or a sport as a kid, you're probably not going to have a lot of money or dough to drop on that. I get it. However, if you're, an adult and you're getting into fishing, whether that be, especially if you're fishing competitively, I don't fish competitively as much as I used to. I used to fish 30 tournaments a year. I don't do that anymore. I fish 4 or 5, 6, get out and have some fun with some local guys, and I have a blast doing that. I like fishing the BFLs. I want to fish the Toyota Series at one point just to say that I've done it. Will I ever become a pro angler? Probably not. My only hope of being out there for people to see me is on YouTube and Facebook, and that's what I understand that, so that's what I'm doing. However, the thing about that is that I feel like that in the Shimano and G Loomis side of things, you're getting what you pay for, and it is an investment. I have a Chronarch E-Series 7 gear ratio. I have 3 of those things I've had for a better part of 12 years, and they still work today like they did the very first time I got them out of the package. I also feel like that way with the rods as well. I own some really lower, well, I can't say really low end. I'm going to say I own some lower end Shimano stuff. I own an SLX 7.5 heavy. Can I grab that and then grab a G Loomis 7.5 heavy and tell the difference? You daggone right. You're going to be able to tell the difference in the sensitivity. You're going to be able to tell the difference in the weight of the rod. You're also going to tell the difference in the craftsmanship of the rods, because again, they're way $99 for the SLX, $650 to $720 or $700. I think $625 is the highest. I'm not about the NRX Plus. If you're in the Conquest, you're at $725, which is a lot of money. I get it. So, but one of the things about it is if you stretch that over the amount of years that you're going to own that thing, is it that big of an investment? Probably not. Sure, you're out of pocket a lot. It's okay. I understand. However, I'm still fishing with the I'm still, you know, I still have that idea of saying that I don't regret any Shimano purchase I've ever had, whether that be the FX I bought way back when or the new NRX Plus that I have ordered. So, guys, hopefully I get this thing in the next few weeks. I don't know. I'm on the lower end of the totem pole here, but I could be one of the first people in America that's not a pro to get these things in my hand, which I'm really hoping. I'm excited for that. Bill Stouter, what's up, buddy? So you're going to Grayson Lake in 2 weeks. How will the fishing be there? Man, tough, I would say. Grayson Lake is fishing weird right now. I've been out there about 4 times this year. Usually, I would say you're going to catch a lot of fish, but finding a keeper is going to be pretty tough. I suggest probably looking at deeper. Man, in 2 weeks they could be bedding, so you might want to look up into some really shallow areas. There's a couple bays in between. So I'm trying to think of the best way to tell you. Check the bays, check shallow areas, because I feel like the bass are going to be spawning. I personally don't know any spawning flats on Grayson. I'm not out there enough. I know if you go up the lake until you get up into the creeks up there, the creek that feeds that, I don't know what that's called, to be honest with you. But the creek that's above Grayson that feeds it in there gets shallow up in there. Might want to check there. I don't think that they're not going to be post spawn, obviously, but by that time they may not even be on the beds for the water that's crazy right now as far as water temperatures. Have a lot of rain. We had a ton of rain last week. It's going to keep the water cooled off a little bit. But with that being said, we're supposed to get into the 70s and 80s into this week, into next week. So that's going to be pushing those fish shallow. I would look for bedding fish. If you get up into the shallows and you can't find any bedding fish, then I would look for pre-spawn hangouts for those fish are going to be on steep banks near those spawning flats. So if you have a graph or something with a mapping software, look on there and try to find some areas that are that look like they would be spawning flats, 6 feet or less in bigger areas, and then look for areas that are channel swing banks or something that's close to that, something that is a lot steeper compared to that flat. So what happens is, when a lot of times in these highland lakes or highland reservoirs, if you'd say, they actually will stage on those vertical walls before you get up into a spawning flat that allows them to vertically feed just by changing the buoyancy of their swim bladder and exert less energy. So, man, I wish I could help you more. Grayson is really tough. My favorite thing to throw at Grayson to catch quantity of fish is a shaky head. Bigger fish seem to come on swim baits, spinner baits. I would say potentially the water's getting warm enough to throw like a buzz bait, a pop, or something like that. We caught one on the Ohio River on a buzz bait this weekend, so can be done. Check those out. Hope that helps you out, man. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, get a hold of me. You guys, are you fishing like Tanner's Creek, or where are you going out of? Because I could definitely help you out on the Ohio River. I am not Ohio River expert, but I have fished here all my life, so I'll definitely help you out, whatever I can do. Speaking of the Ohio River, we've talked about enough about the G Loomis NRX, because the G Loomis NRX Plus is going to be a game changer. How do you make something as good as the NRX better? I don't know, but they've done it. They have absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark. I have one coming. I have the 6'10" shaky head rod spinning coming in. I hope to have it here in the next couple weeks. So I'll do a video on my YouTube channel to show you about that. However, this past weekend, my buddy Dusty Smith and I got out and actually fished the very first tournament that we've ever fished together. and I think it was the first tournament he's ever fished. I'm not sure. Well, let's see here. Let me read this for a second, Adam. While you're talking about warranties, I'm curious if you have any insight on something. I hate to sound prejudiced about where something is made, but I'm kind of disappointed to find out the X-Pride I got as a warranty exchange for a Kamara is made in China. I feel like the premium made product and would love to know if you know anything about their operation in China. And strictly that I have a Japan made rod with a lifetime warranty, and now I have a Chinese rod. You're going to have to drop that second part of that comment, man. Again, I can't see it on my end here. So let's tackle the top part of this. Warranties. All Shimano rods, even the Poison Adrenas that I have absolutely fallen in love with, have 1-year warranties. So you had a Camaro, which was a phenomenal rod that was let's see. So Kamara did have a lifetime warranty on it. You're correct. The lifetime warranty stopped quickly after that. After the Kamara, they stopped doing the lifetime warranty. For what reason, I don't know. My biggest thing is that there's no prejudice here. I keep it 100 with you guys. You know that. Let's see. I have a Chinese rod with a 1-year warranty. Okay, so yeah. So do I feel like that you got kind of do I feel like you kind of got the raw end of the deal? Yeah, sure, I do. I feel like that's right. Because you paid for Kamara, potentially for the warranty, as I do for Loomis. So like that would be like me buying a Loomis and then them coming out with a new product and me breaking it, and then them sending me a new rod that has only a 1-year warranty on it. When you purchased a rod that had a lifetime warranty on it. So I cannot speak on the corporate side of things, how Shimano runs business, and I don't know anything about their Chinese operations. I don't know why they switched to a 1-year warranty. Just for the simple fact is that I've fished Shimano all my life, and I'm going to knock on wood here because I have so many of them, and I don't want to start breaking them. But I've never, ever in my life broken a Shimano rod. Now take that into consideration. I do buy and sell a lot of Shimano rods all the time. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to be selling all my Zodius rods here soon to upgrade to the new Zodius. That's just personal preference. Nothing wrong with the Zodius rods, but the 1-year warranty, man, I don't know why they've done that. I really don't. It's not because the quality of the components has went down. It's not like that their people are breaking these rods. I don't know. It didn't change the price of them any. You'd think it would knock the price down, if anything. But now you're getting, if you look at the Poison Adrena, you're looking at $335 for a 1-year warranty. And that's kind of the downside of that, in my opinion. There's nothing there that I can do or say to make that any better, other than the fact that if you want a warranty, Loomis is the way to go. Sure, you're going to pay a little bit more money, but having that peace of mind. The cool thing that Shimano or that G Loomis does, actually Shimano because they own G Loomis, but there's a thing called the expediter service if you have Loomis. The G Loomis has an expediter service. So let's just say that you're at Gunnersville, you're there for a week with your buddies, you got a big tournament the following Saturday, and you're pitching a G Loomis NRX 894. You're flipping and pitching. You set the hook on a stump, and it busts in about 14 pieces. Well, if you feel like that it is a manufacturer defect, like that you've babied this rod and you set the hook and you feel like that, you didn't like run through the boat doing the old catfish hook set. You set the hook normally and it broke and you think it's a manufacturer defect, you can send it back to them, and if they'll test it, and if it's a manufacturer defect, they'll send you another rod for free. You don't have to worry about that, but there's a waiting process there. So it may take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it may be 6 weeks, depending on if they have one made. Right now, the quantity is very limited. The expediter service is that you call them up wherever you're at in the United States. Let's say you're at Gunnersville fishing, you break that rod, you have a tournament this following week, and you're catching the crap out of bass on a jig, and that's the only jig rod you have with you. So you call them up, say, hey, I have this NRX 894 J or C JWR, and I'd like to use the expediter service. So I think it's $125 for an NRX. I can't speak for the NRX Plus. The NRX or the Conquest is $150. You pay them over the phone $150. They will overnight you the same rod that you have to wherever you're at in the United States, overnighting it to you. When you get the rod tube wherever you're at, you pull the rod tube cap off, pull your new rod out, put your old rod in that same tube, put the cap back on it, tape it back up. It's already pre-packaged or pre-postmarked to send back to them. So basically 125, 150 bucks, you're saving you're paying for the shipping is all you're doing. And you're guaranteed to get that rod. Back to answering your question about the 1 year warranty, I personally think it sucks. I hate it. I don't know why they've done it. I have no clue. I think you're in the right to be kind of leery about that, especially knowing that you bought a Camaro that had a lifetime warranty and now you don't. But that's kind of the thing, the way it goes when technology changes and things are working like that. I was under the impression, to be honest with you, that Shimano, all their stuff was made and manufactured in Japan. And I don't know why I am like this. Maybe it's just a mental block that I have. I feel like, and it's weird, probably nothing. There's probably nothing like this, but I feel like Japanese made stuff seems to be better quality than Chinese made stuff. Don't know why. If you look at like Japanese steel is some of the absolute sharpest stuff on the planet when it comes to knives and things. Well, I'm sure there's Chinese made steel, but you don't hear anything about it. There's a lot of different things that are, like Megabass is made in Japan, but I've noticed a lot of their stuff is not made in Japan anymore. I don't know. I'm sure it's the rising cost of manufacturing there. But if I were to give you any kind of advice there, if you're worried about a warranty and you're looking in that X Pride range, look at the E6X. My advice would be to skip the E6X because it's a little heavier than you're going to be used to with the Shimano side. Pull out that IMX Pro, start there, and work your way up. You will not regret it. They haven't moved their operation to China to save money or cutting corners on quality, therefore cutting warranty 1 year. I personally, in my personal opinion, again, this is my uneducated opinion because I don't know anything about it. I've been fishing Zodius rods for, I want to think I bought my very first Zodius rod, and I could be wrong on this, about 7 years ago. I'm still fishing the exact same Shimano Zodius that I have, and I personally don't think that they were made in Japan then. I'll have to look when I get in my boat. I'll see what I can do, but I think it says stamped made in China as well. Back in Kamara days, were they made in Japan? I think they actually were. I don't think personally. I fished a Kamara. There's several people that I know that have them. I fished them along with the Zodius. And here's my thing. You sent in a Kamara that was broken, that was made in Japan. You now have an X Pride that is made in China, and you're still fishing it. So I think that kind of talks to, kind of goes to your point there. The one was probably made in Japan and it broke, as same as the one in China has the opportunity to break too. So I don't think, as far as a company goes, that them going to I'm sure it's to cut money. Let's face it. Why do we send things from here to China to get manufactured? It's to cut down labor costs, is to cut down quality, not quality, but the amount that it costs to get one made, enhancing our profit margin. So I'm sure that's 100% why they did it. As far as the warranty, I don't know why they dropped it down. I don't feel like it's a quality issue. K Flair, what's up, man? So you're going out of East Liverpool, south of Wheeling. So I guess that's Wheeling, West Virginia, probably. Man, to be honest with you, I've never been down there. I've been down to, let me just see where that's at. I'm gonna see how close that is to the pool, the most upriver pool that I've ever fished. Wow, that's, geez, you're way more upriver than I've ever been, and you're almost up in, where's that? Yeah, dude, you're like borderline Pennsylvania there. So you're up like Three Rivers area. So I don't know, man. I will tell you that they have like the hardest Bassmaster Classic ever, according to KVD, was up that way. So yeah, you might want to go back and look at some footage over that. You might find some stuff. Small baits. I would say a Texas rig, Zoom speed crawl, shaky head, top water. They're probably, depending on what time of the year is, they're probably going to be shallow. If you're this time of year, you're definitely going to have to check shallow. They're going to be moving up the spawn. I'm talking 3 feet or less. They were, this past weekend, they were super shallow. So I'll see what I can find out for you, man, but that's all I got for you right now. This past weekend, we fished with Lewis County Lunkers. Again, myself, Dusty Smith, went out and had an absolute ball. I'm pretty sure it was the first tournament Dusty ever fished. Went in, paid her money. It was Mother's Day. So, you know, I was kind of leery about fishing anyway, but I talked to my mom. We were going to hang out that week, and I went and seen her, but we're going to get dinner and stuff this week to make up for it. But I fished, and Dusty, you know, showed up, and it was funny how it happened. We showed up at the Little Sandy Ramp, and their tournament started at 8 o'clock. So we get there about 10 till 7 just to hang out and get everything ready and, you know, just to, you know, BS a while. And then the tournament starts at 8. It's like 7:30. So I text Brandon Buckner. I was like, hey, man, are you guys going out of the Little Sandy Ramp? He's like, no, here's the pin. So he sent me a pin, and I showed Dusty, and it sent the pin down in the middle of Wurtland. And I was like, holy crap, I didn't have a clue there's a boat ramp in Wurtland. So we, you know, strapped the boat back down and haul rear end down 23 again. And then Brandon sends me a message of him pulling into the boat ramp, and it's the Little Sandy boat ramp. Like my phone and his pin dropped, and it went like it had it had me all screwed up. So I flipped it around, obviously went back, and we put the boat in a Little Sandy, paid our money to fish. Ended up catching 3 dinks on a Zoom dead ringer in June bug collar. I'd bought some at the tackle box over the past week. I just thought they were old school looking. It reminded me of the bait that you threw a lot on Super Black Bass on Nintendo. If you ever played that and had that little curly tail worm that had all the ribs on it, the little ringworm deal, I used to catch the fire out of them on that game. I was like, wow, here it is. Real life Super Black Bass. So I bought some. I wanted some with a different tail, but they were all solid collar. Let's see here. Where do we put in when I fish Tanner's Creek? Is it the Tanner's Ramp right there? I think it is. It's man, I fish as a co-angler down there. Yeah, Tanner's Creek boat ramp. That's where we put in at. Big old ramp, giant ramp. Tanner's Creek actually is a really good place to fish. Like if you get up in the shallows there's a cove. Let's see if I can pull this up for you here. So here's Tanner's Creek. Let's go into the satellite view of it here. Tanner's Creek. Here's the boat ramp. This cove right here is actually pretty daggone good if you can get up in there. Really shallow. The boater that I had, we didn't ramp in there, but we were churning mud to get in there. And once we got in there, it actually opened up and we done all right. It was like a community hole, and there was about 10 people fishing in there, but it was deeper back in here, and we caught some keepers behind those little islands there. That's where and there was another one here that I'm trying to figure out where it's at. I think it was up in the Great Miami. We were up in here somewhere, and there was like this, and I swear I really don't know how we got up. Oh, I guess it's right here. Yeah, this has got to be it. So we got up in here, and obviously it looks like that's dry. So I don't know if that's pollen or what, but we were up in here fishing. I think it was there. Don't quote me on it, but I think it was right there. We were fishing up in there and caught it, and we really did had to get. We had to bust in there pretty much. We we went in there on plane. But those are two pretty decent places for fishing at Tanner's that I know about. Couldn't tell you if they're any count or not because I don't know anything about being a boater down there because I've never had a boat that far downriver. So went out and fished, hit through that Zoom dead ringer on a 3/16 ounce tungsten or EcoPro tungsten worm weight, 4-aught Gamakatsu offset shank worm hook, 12-pound Sunline FC Sniper, and my rod that I used was a 7'2" heavy Poison Adrena with a Corrado K200 HG, the 7-gear ratio. It seemed to be short striking a lot. I got cleaned more times that tournament than I have in 20 years bass fishing. I'm talking about pitching in a spot, getting absolute thumped. Set the hook, bait gone. They were just holding on to the tail for whatever reason, couldn't tell you. But we ended up catching 3 fish, had 6, I think, in the boat, 3 short fish, 3 keepers. I hooked a fish that would have probably come off the boat. I also, again, we should have at least had a limit, I think. That 12-inch limit is pretty easy to come by sometimes on the river. I wish we would have had a limit. The day before that, they had a Boy Scout tournament out of the same ramp. Took 14.5 pounds to win it. Absolutely, it floored me, man. I saw that and my jaw hit the absolute deck. I was like, holy crap, 14.5 pounds. Somebody freaking smashed them on the river. Matter of fact, that might be one of the biggest bags I've ever seen come out of the Greenup pool. That is a freaking big bag. And it may have not come out of the Greenup pool. They might have locked through. Who knows? But even on the Ohio River, 14.5 pound and 5 fish, I'll take that all day, every day, twice on Sunday. But it was a good time. 3 keepers put us in the W range, which wasn't a ton of boats, but a win's a win's a win. Have fun. If you guys want to see the coverage of that, it's on my YouTube channel, which again is On Another Line. Braided fluorocarbon or both. So obviously different techniques. I use both. On my spinning rods, every spinning rod I own has braid on it. That goes braid to a fluorocarbon leader. My favorite braid on the planet is Power Pro Super Slick V2. I really like this. This is Moonshine Collar. 15-pound test on all of my spinning rods, except some of them have 30-pound test. The diameter of 15-pound test is equivalent to 4-pound regular like mono, so you're not getting a huge amount of line wastage there. So that you can go up in poundage is what I'm saying. This is a really cool collar they just have out this year. It's called, or actually last year's called Moonshine. If you fish in the dark at night, you can actually put a black light on there. This stuff glows like a lightsaber. But I run that to fluorocarbon leaders. I'm a hands down. I fish Sunline. I'm not affiliated with Sunline. I'm not sponsored by Sunline. I think it's head and shoulders better than anything on the market. My favorite is Sunline FC Sniper. Normally, I go to a 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon leader, but I talked to Gene Jensen, aka Fluke Master, back in the day on my show, and he suggested, he's like, look, go down to that 8-pound range of a fluorocarbon leader. He said, I guarantee you catch double the fish. So I did. I went out and bought some 8-pound fluorocarbon FC Sniper Sunline, and I started using it. And I do believe that I have saw an increased catch ratio. I've seen more fish in the boat, especially up north. If you do a lot of smallmouth fishing or fishing gin clear lakes. In my area, one of the clearest lakes that we have is Greenbow. Greenbow is super, super clear. Yatesville gets clear. Grayson gets super clear, depending on what time of year, if there's not a lot of pleasure boaters. So that 8-pound test fluorocarbon leader does give me the option to for the fish to not see it as much. So I do use that. If I'm talking about a casting rod, again, different techniques. If I want to be throwing a jig or something like that, I'm going to be throwing it on fluorocarbon, 15-pound test, FC Sniper is my go-to there. If I'm going to be pitching into really heavy cover and I don't care if the fish are going to see it or not, if I'm going to punch things, I'm going to be using braid. This is the wrong collar and the wrong. This is actually the wrong reel of line. I was thinking I had some regular Power Pro down here, but this is V2 also. But my favorite for that is going to be if I'm going to be flipping and pitching and using braid, I'm going to use some Power Pro. And again, this is not it, but it's just regular Power Pro braid. It's a 4-carrier braid as opposed to an 8-carrier braid. The 4-carrier braid, I want you to think about like a mud tire, right? It's rougher, but it's going to get you in and out of there. It's going to, you're going to rip some things up. You're going to be able to come through some brush and things and be all right. The 8-carrier braid, which is a Super Slick V2, it has 8 strands of Spectra fiber in it that allows that to be a lot more, a lot smoother. So it's going to be like a highway tire. It's not going to be as quite as, and they've changed it in Super Slick V2. It's actually the same tensile strength as the 4-carrier braid. But the older stuff, the 4-carrier braids weren't as abrasion resistant. So they would get scuffed up, they would get chafed, they would then break. That's changed now in the Super Slick V2. But if I'm going to be flipping and pitching into heavy cover like hydrilla, or if I'm pitching into lily pads or something, big brush, I'm going to be using probably 65-pound regular Power Pro. I like the Onyx collar, which is black. Also, moss green works really well. And then if I'm going to step down into crankbaits, I use Sunline FC Crank, which is just a fluorocarbon crank. It has a little bit more stretch to it as opposed to the regular fluorocarbon, which has less stretch than mono. If I'm throwing topwater baits, I used to throw it on strictly mono. I now throw strictly braid just for the simple fact is that you don't have any stretch there, and it does float as well. You don't want to throw topwater baits or anything that floats on fluorocarbon because fluorocarbon line sinks. So when it sinks, the line's it's going to pull your bait down. Excuse me, it may not sink your bait, but it's going to dip the nose of it when you jerking or twitching that bait. It's going to cause that thing to act the way it shouldn't. It's going to act erratic, and you don't want that. Or it's going to act stupid, not erratic, because that's a good deal. And then I use copolymer for big baits, big swim baits like a mag draft or an Alabama rig, something that I like that because I've had great luck with that. So that's my rundown of what I use. I use braid on my spinning rods to a fluorocarbon leader. Every spinning rod I have is like that. Casting rods again are going to have 80% of the rods that I have in my arsenal that are casting rods have fluorocarbon on them, whether that's FC Crank or FC Sniper. I do have Assassin on some of those. I feel like Assassin casts farther than FC Sniper. I don't know why, but I feel like it does. And then top water is going to be braid. The only thing I use copolymer for is going to be for big baits, like a big swim bait. And I'll throw a big swim bait on braid too. But usually if I'm throwing a big swim bait, I'm just looking for those big bites, and I really don't care about being subtle and finessey. Quick update on the YouTube channel before I hop off here. We're about that 50-minute mark. You guys know, hour long, we're out of here. I appreciate you guys sticking around. We are going to look at my channel here really quick. Let's see. Let me go into the analytics of things here. First off, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would appreciate it if you would. I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of this fishing season, and it is getting really. I'm wondering if I'm going to make it. I don't think I am. Matter of fact, I set these things too high, no doubt. Right now, 2,714 subscribers. That is 103 in the last month. That's 70 or 37 more than usual. So thank you very much for finally driving that up. If I can get 120 subscribers a month, I can hit my goal, which is great. So if you would lie to people, be like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Subscribe. He likes to go out and catch fish, and every now and then he does catch one. Pretty good deal. So I'm happy with that. 103 subscribers in a month. Bingo. That's what I'm talking about. So thank you guys very much. Couple of things, by the way, if you guys are just now joining in for me, I can save you some dough on a few things if you're interested. Speaking of which, I forgot to mention earlier, but my buddy Tyler Akers has a GoPro that he is trying to sell. It is a brand new GoPro Hero 8 Black. It's not the newest GoPro. The newest GoPro is the 9 Black. The 9 Black is like $400 and some dollars. He has the GoPro Hero 8 Black with a huge bundle kit. $418, I think, is what I looked at it on Amazon today. He has a Yolatech 53-inch power stick that allows you to power your GoPro from your nav port of your boat all day long. It's $170 value. And he's wanting $400 for the entire package. So it's basically like you're buying the camera and the accessories and you're getting the Yolatech stick free, which is a really good deal. So yeah, actually Tyler's just in here right here. This dude right here, message him if you're interested. He does have a really good deal. I would jump on it right now if I didn't have 3 of them already. The Hero 8 is a great camera. The Yolatech is going to allow you to do it. He's got a lot of different mounts and stuff. He's, if I'm not mistaken, Tyler, it's on the Facebook Marketplace, or it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but definitely check that out. Tyler will, he's local to me, so if you're in the Pedro, Hanging Rock area, he'll be able to, meet you within a reasonable distance. He'll probably ship if you're willing to pay the shipping. $400, guys, it's a steal of a deal. The camera alone costs that. You're getting Yolatech and the accessories for free. If you're interested, get a hold of Tyler or me, and I can get you in contact with him or whatever. A couple of other things, if you're looking to save some dough on some JB's fish sauce, this is a new product that they have out that has my brand and my logo on it. This is JB's Pinch of Garlic. You guys know that I have been a big fan of JB's fish sauce for years. I've been using this stuff for years. This stuff it will make you want some garlic bread. I'm telling you, the Pinch of Garlic is my proprietary blend of JB's fish sauce. It does have garlic in it, obviously, and a few of secret ingredients in there. But you can pick this up on jbsfishsauce.com if you guys are interested in saving some dough there. The code for that is OALL20. That's the letter, or the letter OALL, on another line live 20. Will save you 20% off your order at jbsfishsauce.com. This is a new product. This is jelly. Comes in a 1 ounce thing. It's kind of like more of a chapstick style thing, but it's a little less hard than chapstick. Dip your bait in there, put it in the water. My favorite is also the spray. The 4 ounce spray is really good. Pinch of garlic, crawfish, you name it. They got all kind of different stuff. Also, if you're in the market for a Yolatech power stick and you don't buy the one Tyler's got, I could save you a load of cash on that. Shoot me a message. I will shoot you a code or a link that will save you about $50 to $75 on, depending on what you buy from their website. I'm affiliated with Solar Bat Sunglasses. I don't have a promo code for them. There's nothing I can do to save you some cash there. But if you want to get your hands on a pair and try them out, I have like 15 pair. My favorite are the cruise lens. Definitely check those out if you're interested. I can get with you. You can try them on. What suits you is fine with me. So we are right now at that 53-minute mark, which again, we are at that hour mark. So I appreciate it. If you guys are interested in buying that GoPro off of Tyler Akers, get a hold of me or him on Facebook, and we will get you in touch with each other so you can purchase that. Again, I'm sure he'll ship it if you pay the shipping, if you're not local. But it's a great deal. jbsfishsauce.com. Again, this episode is brought to you by Shimano. Get out there and get your hands on that Loomis NRX Plus when it comes in stock. I know there's some on order at the tackle box. They will have them as soon as they get shipped. I have one coming in the mail. I have the shaky head rod, the NRX Plus. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I think it's going to be an extreme game changer. How do they make something as good as the NRX better? I don't know, but they've done it. Larry Slack, you still on here? You going to Allen Creek? I think I saw that Brandon Patrick's going, so I think Larry's going. I think I talked to him. I don't know if Larry's still on here. I was going to come up and fish with you guys, but I'm going to St. Clair. Kyle and I decided just to head back north again. Looks like it's going to shape up good. Got Aaron Strickland. He's going up. There's several people up there. It's going to be a good time, no doubt. I saw Bill Akers was in Erie and absolutely smashed them today, largemouth and smallmouth. got the double bag, which is really, really cool. Brandon Klein was in up in Erie like yesterday. Let me make sure that I get this right. I think he said he had 22 pounds for his best 5. Let me check to make sure. Yep, 22.8, best 5. That's a good day. I don't care where you're at, Tater. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you sticking around for another episode of On Another Line Live. Coming up this week, we have on YouTube. If you guys are not subscribed, you're not going to see it. So I appreciate it if you go over there and subscribe. We got a couple videos coming out. One of them is talking about what I do to prepare for going out of town as an angler that knows nothing about going north, really. I'm learning, but what I do to start out with. So there's a couple baits that I tie on always, and we're going to talk about those on a video. And I have a video coming out showing my newest crankbait rod that I have, which is IMX Pro. It is a 866C CBR, which stands for crankbait rod, and it is a DF, a deep flex. I like it a lot. I'm going to talk to you guys about that. It's paired with a 70 series Corrado K. I'm sorry, a Corrado 70 series Corrado MGL, and it is a phenomenal pair. Again, I would Herb. I'd love to come fish with you guys. I don't know that I want to go up there and donate my money to Kevin Wells. That dude can smash him. I don't care where he's at. Anyway, I was planning on coming up fish with you guys, like I said, and Kyle and I last minute decision going to St. Clair this weekend. So hope you guys do well up there. Hope you guys catch them. Everybody be safe and get out there and catch them, guys. So again, guys, I thank you for joining me on another episode of On Another Line Live. If you guys have any topics or you want to see me talk about, shoot me a message, drop me a message on Facebook, YouTube, whatever you need to do. And you know, we'll try to cover it. I'm going to try to have some people on in the next few weeks to break the monotony of me just sitting here talking. But I appreciate the kind words and stuff that people have been throwing out there on YouTube and Facebook. I appreciate it. So Dusty, there he is right there. So Dusty, here's the funny story before I get off here. Dusty, just like anybody, is really skeptical about having a $575 rod, and that's not counting the reel. Sure, I get it. My heart palpitates every time I think about $575 for a rod. But the NRX is a game changer. It is an absolute phenomenal rod. The new NRX Plus, though, Dusty, wait till you get your hands on that one. It's crazy good. I don't know how they make something that good better, but they've done it. Like I said, it is a real deal. I put it in his hands for the first time, and he actually caught a fish, caught his keeper on it. So it's a legit deal. He was fishing with the, what was it? I think it's an 853. Pretty sure that's what he had in his hands. 853, 100%. That's what it was. Anyway, so Dusty and I went out, caught some fish, won a tournament. I think I said win a tournament. That doesn't make sense at all. But anyway, thank you guys for joining another episode of On Another Line. If you can, get out there and lean on them. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd appreciate it if you would. Share my content with people that you think are in the same mentality as you are, as well as I am. So those fishing freaks out there, male or female, I'd love to have you guys join the community of On Another Line. If you guys want to be on my show, I will definitely add you. You don't have to be a pro. We'll talk about fishing, talk about your favorite techniques. I'll let people answer questions to you. Totally fine. It's all good. So I appreciate you guys sticking around for this week's episode of On Another Line Live. And if you can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.